I'm like excited for this one. I really am, bro. This one's really funny, bro. Got the Grazianis on set. You already know.
Yes,
So
sir.
like, at what age did you guys really start like playing basketball? You know.
I played in my first rec league, I think, when I was 5. I think that was in the Pines one. Was that the first one?
Yeah, it was like I think it was Pines, and then we went to the Cooper City Optimist.
Yeah. Cooper was so much better.
Yeah, so much fun. But like we started had like the little like play hoop or whatever, and we were playing on that since we could walk.
Your dad got you into it?
Yeah, like he would be outside shooting on like the actual basket, and he'd roll out the little one.
That's where we first started. We were trying to be like him, and so he'd be like practicing because he'd play in the men's leagues, and so we'd be out there dribbling like the little basketball and have the little Tykes hoop, and he started putting us through dribbling drills and stuff.
Like he's been your coach your whole life, basically, right? Like
Yeah.
he's the one that you guys look up to, and he's the one that you think he's the smartest like person for you guys, like coach wise, and he knows you well.
He's my favorite coach of all time.
Yeah.
I think he started coaching back when his younger sister was in high school. She went to Cooper City. She was all state, right? Her senior year.
Yeah.
And then she got a full ride to UM. Started and played 4 years there. And so kind of guiding her, coaching her is where he started.
So, bro.
So your dad started coaching with
his sister.
Yeah, his younger sister.
Okay. And then how long has does your dad still coach now, or did he stop because of you guys?
No, he had tried when we were getting around high school to get a coaching job, once we finished his last season of travel, that was when he kind of stopped and just kind of was gonna watch us play for college and if we can play professionally.
Because since you guys have been playing since a young age, like when did you guys feel like you were actually comfortable, like with the ball in your hands and everything just felt normal and natural?
I think he always has.
Yeah.
Because like I always played up with him, so I was playing 2 grades ahead or 2 years, however you want to look at it, and so like I was kind of like I was the second best player, but I was still like his supporting cast. Like he was the guy, and like at a young age, I was just smaller than everybody, so it was harder to like score and stuff like that. So I was just able to like get him the ball and stuff like that.
Like when we first started playing travel basketball, we started in 4th grade. I was in 4th grade. Our dad made the travel team, and he was in 2nd grade.
It's crazy, man.
And he was playing 4th grade on it was our team, and so we always had 6 or 7 guys, and he's played up until my senior year. So from when he was in 2nd grade until he was a junior, actually, was when he was finally playing his age. He played it like one time for a whole year, and that was it.
But what do you think about like your games? Because I know like you're like sharpshooter, and I know you with the handles and like the hezzies. First person to ever make me touch earth. I promise you, boy with the little hezzy combo between legs. I'm here leaning back a little bit. I don't usually do that, you know. And oh my God, so like, cause I know you're more like the guard, like 1, and you usually play the 2, and you could like you guys play whatever, you know.
When we first started, I was actually the leading scorer of our team up until
He did everything. Like he was the point guard, but he was also like the main scorer.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I was just kind of there because I was better than everybody else, but I still couldn't like dominate. So I was just kind of like there, helping him basically.
And then what was it when I was in 7th grade, or was it when?
I would say probably like when you were in.
Right when you were getting to middle school was when you really started to kind of come in, and
that's when I was kind of like just like a knockdown shooter at that point. Like I still didn't like handle the rocket like he did, but like that's when I started shooting, and then like that's when I started like really scoring more.
And then when it was that game against Monarch when we were at Cooper. That was the game that really that was his first 40-point game, and
Same.
that was like the game that just opened up his scoring, where like he just became more than just a shooter and like a off the screen kind of guy. and where he was just creating shots, pull-ups, floaters, getting to the rim. That was the game that really just, like, he broke out, and he had already been a better scorer than I was, like, or a more consistent scorer than I was, but that was the game where, like, it just was, like...
It's insane.
He was,
40.
like, different with that.
What grade was it? Did you say you dropped 40?
My first 40 was sophomore year.
Sophomore year, dropping your first 40. Dropping in varsity?
Yeah.
So how was that for you, always playing up? Like, did that ever bother you mentally? Was that everything you ever thought of mentally, or was it just something you got used to and you just hooped?
Honestly, for like the first time, like it was just, I was young, so like I was just playing ball, like I didn't even think about it. And then as years went on, it was just like that's just what I did my whole life. So like it was nothing new to me. I mean, it was just like that's just how we played. I played up with him all the time. I always played with him and travel. And then so like in high school, it helped me too, because like in travel ball, I'm playing up 2 years. High school, we both started on varsity as freshmen. So like I mean that. It's a big jump, but at the same time, I was playing up for 2 years every time, so it wasn't that bad.
That was a little bit of an advantage because when I was always playing my grades. So when I went from middle school to high school, and my first time playing varsity, it was these guys in high school. They're starting to turn into young men. I was still like a middle school kid, like just and so it was a big change of pace. Where when he got to high school, he was already playing. When he was in 7th grade, he was playing with the 9th graders, and when he was in 8th grade, he was playing with the 10th graders. So he had already played with some of the kids, or played against some of the kids that he was going to play in high school. So that was something that kind of also helped him.
But what do you think about like travel ball and like high school ball? Big difference, or like what do you think it's a waste of time? One of them, or?
I mean, the biggest difference I'd say between the two is like when you start playing like good travel ball, like going to like really good tournaments and stuff, there's no bad teams. Like in high school, obviously, like there's some teams that just like aren't that good. When you play them, like there's a lot more blowouts, I think, in high school than like if you go to a good travel tournament, you're playing every game's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
But like I think, I don't know, I would say travel ball is it's hard now. Like 'cause the point of playing travel ball when you're in high school is basically to get noticed. So I mean,
Exactly.
you kind of have to. It's hard with how many tournaments there are. So like, I wouldn't say either's a waste of time, but I mean, I always like playing travel ball more because you play more games and stuff. But like, I don't know. I think high school is nice. Playing, I mean, you play for like a state championship. Like there's an end result.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like, didn't you play LaMelo?
Yeah.
Travel? How was that? You know, like just
Like,
hype, hella fans. You know.
I mean, for like, us, like that was like the most hype game we played in. We played against a bunch of guys like that, a bunch of NBA guys. We played against what's the dude's name for Sacramento?
Marvin Bagley. We played against him back in middle school when he was already like 6'6", I think.
Yeah,
So what?
6'6" in like
Yeah, in 8th grade or something.
Those players were like dominating. Like they killed you guys, or like you could tell they were going to a league at that time.
They had like that name to them, like they were high prospects.
That was in middle school. You know, even now you think and that the prediction that they're gonna make it to the league, and he had that potential, but it wasn't like a certainty. Like, you know, it's once you gotta get to that high school level and you kind of see how they play against other high school kids and guys of their calibers, when you can kind of really see. Because like I actually just saw something the other day about how freshman high school rankings to senior, they did compared the same class. It was like, I don't remember which class it was, but it was like the top 10 of high school basketball players, and it had changed so much just in 4 years of high school. There were some guys that went from like 10 to 1 or 10 to the top 3, and then there were some guys that just weren't even on the list anymore.
It's crazy, bro.
I was playing against Darius Garland, and I think when we played him, he was good, but he didn't have like that name to him. Like I think that he got, like when he was in high school, like he was more like they made like the little mixtape for him and stuff, and then obviously he's in the league now. So like, but I mean, we played against a couple of guys like that. So I think in travel ball, I mean, you're playing against people from all over. So like it's different. You're playing different people. You're not playing the same guys.
That's crazy though. like playing just those, like they're in the league right now, you know, and like
Yeah.
that's your ultimate goal is to get to the league, you know.
Yeah.
But you think like the recruiting system's fair, or it's hard to get recruited, or like what about like the young players in high school now, like and there's certain systems and stuff?
I think it's so hard. I mean, how many people are playing, and then with all like the mixtapes and stuff, like you got Ball is Life and stuff like that. Like they follow those guys,
Yeah.
and so like it's hard to get your name out there, I guess, when you got so many kids playing, and then you got all the prospects that people are like focused on. Like it's you kind of just have to. There's a little bit of luck involved in like playing in front of a coach, and then you just have to be able to, I don't know, figure out what tournaments are best to go to and stuff like that.
Because I know both you guys are like well known in Broward for sure.
Yeah.
But like, did you hear stuff from like other coaches like outside of the state, you know, or is that like more of just like Florida recruiter?
I didn't. I got a few Division III schools that were looking at me. That were gonna like kind of offer me a spot on the team because they don't offer athletic scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
One was in Vermont. And one was in, I believe it was Massachusetts, was one of the other ones. Those I think we kind of found through the tournaments that we had gone to up in Jersey and Pennsylvania. But it's hard to get, like he was saying, you kind of have to get lucky with, there's so many travel basketball tournaments during the live period when the coaches are coming to see you that, it's not only you have to pick the right tournament, but then you have to be on one of the courts where the coaches actually go to, and not one of the courts where you're just kind of like at like a third or fourth high school that they just kind of throw you at and kind of
Nah, but I felt that like, but overall like.
Let's say it's unfair though. Like I think it's just you get lucky. Honestly, like some guys get, and then it's also you have to. Some people just have connections. Like they build relationships with coaches, and like they obviously like some coach like there's high school coaches that don't talk to college coaches. Like they just don't have connections like that. So it's also you have if you know those people, you have a better chance of being noticed. They can put your name out there and help you out.
But like it sucks because like nowadays I feel like everyone's just looking for that like 6'6" guard, and like with you guys, like you guys are both like undersized, I guess, for like realistically in college ball and stuff, and like that's hard for you guys for sure, and like I know both you guys playing college ball now, and like I know you're doing really good, and then you're coming off an injury, which sucks, but like how is that, like for you guys, you probably think it's like, come on, man, like I'm better than these kids, like I'm way more skilled, I put in way more work, my work ethic's better, so like I know we've talked about that before, but like that's tough for both of you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like just how you look at Division I and like there's so many kids like guards, like it's hard to find people that like can't dunk, that aren't super athletic and stuff like that. But I think, that's just what a lot of coaches look for now, and it sucks, but that's what like I think our work ethics like still bring us to that level to where like D2 is good ball, like
it's amazing, and you guys are in the top program probably in the nation right now.
One of the top programs, so like we still got to a very high level, and I think that like that's all work ethic. But like you said, like odds are against us pretty much, and then you just kind of like keep going, keep grinding and stuff like that.
What's the end goal?
What happened?
What's the end goal? You feel me? Like realistically, like obviously I know you want to get to the league, and like that's basically the end goal. Like I could see like for you guys, but like, what do you think is gonna get you there?
I think, being at a good program like D2, there's a lot of kids, even like D2 that play overseas and stuff like that. So I think playing professionally, I think is definitely like a realistic goal. Like obviously the NBA, like its odds are not good, but like I don't count that out. Like I think I can still get there. But like playing overseas, I think is definitely like a realistic goal to reach. You just have some good years playing in college, and
because you guys are undersized. So how was that? Always being undersized, but still playing against such big, like playing against guys who are 6'10", 6'8", 6'6". Like, how was that for you guys playing on that and still getting to the level that you guys are at? Because you guys are still at a pretty high level. Like, there's so many people out there who play basketball and to still be playing D2 basketball. It's not easy to do.
Yeah.
So how did you guys figure out a way, and how much work did you guys really have to put in to get to the point where you guys are at?
That was just, I mean, it was just, you had to get creative. I mean, with, finishing down low, shooting it from deep. There's different aspects of our game that we just try to you just gotta work hard and think how work angles, and it's just
What happened?
I don't know, bro. I just started thinking about some shit because I'm thinking like with you guys, because I know you guys are like the main scorers on the team and stuff.
Yeah.
So I can just envision like 2 6'10" guys running at you. Like, you feel me? Like coming up on a double team, like a high pick and roll, and then this big 6'10" guy switches on you. You feel me? And I just like see that like with you guys, because I know you guys face that. Like you're talking about the Marvin Bagley and stuff.
Yeah.
So to me it's just funny because I could just imagine someone like that coming up on the double team.
That's
And
what I'm saying.
me quick swing, help out, like
Going out,
you feel me?
playing.
Like,
what are you doing? That,
and
like,
I know like you guys like handle it well. Like I haven't seen too much of Dylan play,
Yeah.
but with Dallas like coming off these, because it's like a James Harden situation. Like you're guarding him a specific way. Like people guarding him full core, forcing you right. I know like I know you could shoot with your right too, but like I don't even know. Like I'm like it's just different levels to it. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's just. We also have like an advantage when you look at it on the offensive end, especially like if you get a 6'8" big switched on you, like you kind of want that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because you're just gonna blow by.
Yeah. So I mean, like he said, like you get creative and like I could shoot from deep too, so I could step out there. Like I mean,
It's
it was the way we built our team. Like we had guys that could drive. We didn't have very tall guys, but we had some strong bigs down low, shooters, and we just we played as a team. That was where we got a lot of the more athletic, bigger, stronger teams. Is that when things got tough, they kind of would get mad at each other and kind of try to take the game over by themselves. And we couldn't afford to do that. I mean, what like you're saying, like if they got 6'8", 6'9" down low, I'm 5'10". If I drive down there, I can't just do it by myself. We gotta move the ball, hit the open guy, and just
IQ.
Yeah.
And that's what they have. Like I know. I remember what like charter game, and you guys were both at Cooper City, and like you guys just running around. You're running baseline like a freaking maniac, just going like back and forth. This kid's running the one, coming around the screen. Oh, pop, wet. Like it's just like a different level. You feel me? Like and watching, like you guys know, like everyone knows. Coming to games is like, did you ever feel that pressure? Like going to those gyms. Oh, here comes the Grazianis. You see how I'm saying? Like
I remember that game when you had like last year when you had first came to our school, right? Everyone knew who you were.
Yeah.
And then I remember that game when you went back to Cooper. And I remember me and Matt had both went to that game, bro. It felt like LeBron going back to Cleveland. Like, that was a different type of energy. And it was crazy. So, like, and, like, how is that for you? So, how was that game? And then, like, how was that for you being able to switch teams? Because that's realistically, for the average hooper, they're not able to do that. You're not able to just switch to top high school to top high school. So, how break me down, how was that game for you? And then how are you able to transfer like that?
I mean, the game, I love those games, man. Like, I mean, there's a lot of games down here that, like, you walk into the gym and, like, it's almost empty. And it's, like, energy's dead and stuff. Like, you kind of, in a game like that, like, although, like, all them hated me and stuff, like, kind of feed off that energy.
Yeah.
Like, you just
I
get hyped
remember you
for
were
it.
laughing, playing
And
around,
it's
all
like,
that.
I mean, you that's what I love. Like, games like that, going in, like, people hate you. You come in, like, I mean, we knew we were going to win. And we come in and we do our thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, I feel you. And then how is that for you being able to transfer to different schools? Because the average kid who just hoops, he's not good enough to be able to just switch to top school to top school. So how is that able? How are you able to do those things?
I think, like, at Cooper, I definitely, like, scored more. I mean, I think, like, we had some solid players, but I mean, at Charter, senior year, we brought in, like, 4 transfers.
Yeah.
So everybody there was like, everybody could hoop. Like everybody was just good. I mean, everybody had offers and stuff like that. Like they're all like good hoopers. I mean, it was more like I was there playing more team ball, I guess. I mean, more than like just kind of like I had more of a supporting cast at Cooper.
Yeah.
Like I always said, like we just had a better team. I mean, and it was hard. Like, I mean, we had to figure it out early on. We had a couple of close games against like some like decent teams. I mean, we went to overtime like twice early in the season against teams that probably would be pretty good like later on. But I mean, it's just kind of my game. I would say like I still play my game, but it's just learning how to play with the other guys mostly.
And then how is it that when you've always played with your brother, so not playing with your brother, how was that for the first time? And how is it playing with your brother? Like, do you feel more comfortable? Is it fun? Because normally people don't have a twin or a close brother who's close to them around the same age who they can hoop with.
Yeah, no, I mean, bro, playing with him is so fun. Like, my sophomore year, his senior year was so much fun at Cooper. Like, it was just every game was fun.
Right
I mean,
from the start,
yeah.
that first game was just, it was electric.
It was like, I mean, the difference without him, like, I don't have somebody, when we're on the court together, like, our connection is just crazy. Like, you'll find, like, someone make a bad pass or something because they thought they were going to cut. Like, that doesn't happen ever with us. Like, we always know what's going on.
Yeah.
And we just have that connection, and it's fun. Like when you see him, like, when I see him do good, like, obviously,
you feed off of it.
it's just, yeah.
And then same for you. Like your freshman year, you didn't play with him.
No, it was a major adjustment. Just not just not playing with him, but playing, like I kind of said before, just the level of varsity basketball going from middle school basketball it's a major change of pace. It's a major change in size of the kids. Well, maybe not as much today with some of the kids now, but I remember when like in middle school, when I was in middle school, nobody was dunking in middle school. And so my freshman year of high school, we had at Everglades, we had a close game with Miramar, and one of our senior players in a down one with under 30 seconds left went and dunked on somebody to take the lead. And that was our rival too.
Like, you could just jump.
And like that was a little bit later in the year, but that was one of the points where I was just like this is a different level of basketball that
was his moment. Welcome to varsity.
I would say too though, like, I mean, he was at more of a disadvantage, him like being older when he got to high school, because he was by himself for freshman, sophomore year. I was by myself for junior, senior year. So I'm older and I'm used to it now. Yeah. So like we don't like having that connection helps us, but it improves our games like crazy. And so I mean, it helped me that I had him for my first 2 years, and then like I was at that level. I was used to it when he was gone, which I think that helped me a lot.
What's the bigger jump, like middle school or high school, and then high school, college? I'm pretty sure it's high school to college, right? Because everyone's hitting a shot. You can't leave no one open. Like, it's different levels in that aspect. Like, everyone's just all around more talented.
Yeah. There's a significant jump, I think, when you go from all of the levels, but I think it does get bigger as you get higher and further down.
I think from like skill set point.
Yeah.
Like, because like in college, pretty much everyone's grown. Like even like we're undersized, but like we're I'm 19 years old playing. Like I'm grown now. Like we're
you might put on some size and some strength, but you're not gonna grow.
That's the difference. Like middle school, you can still have like a kid playing against a grown man, 6'8" monster. And then like you said, in college, everybody's hitting. Like you can't leave people open. Everybody can shoot a little bit. I would say that's like
the pace picks up a little some more as well. Yeah. But it's also like it's mostly like what you said. Like you can't like. Even like the bigs or the guys you think can't shoot, like you can't leave them open like you can in like high school. Like there's some guys you won't close out on because for whatever
leave them open.
For whatever reason. But when you get to college, that's not something you can do. It's everybody has.
Right, but same with like the coaching or the coaches like more intense in college. Like if you mess up, you're right out of the game, or like. they know, like
that. I think that kind of the whether or not you get pulled when you make a mistake is kind of, it depends on, you know, your role on the team.
It also depends on the coach too.
Yeah,
like every coach is different from like every level.
and at every level.
But the intensity, I mean, playing for our dad,
Yeah.
I don't think you can get a more intense coach from
I don't think
from that aspect.
And
so.
that prepares you for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something where, you know, some people talked about he was maybe too intense, but when, like for us, when we were trying to get to the highest possible level to play basketball, you know, that's something you have to deal with at some point.
Yeah.
And if you can't play with that, you can't get to college, you can't play at these next levels, because the intensity, there's like, you're playing for something real, like everybody cares, everybody's giving their heart and soul. You can't just kind of be lackadaisical about it.
It's true.
You ever had that moment where someone actually got in your head? Someone talking trash or like a coach saying something that got in your head bothered you?
No.
Never?
No.
The refs.
I mean,
Or are you a ref?
The refs.
Ref? I mean, I got like teed up, but like
Nothing?
No, I
it
mean,
pissed me off.
when I
When I was, that was actually something that I kind of had, kind of when I was younger and obviously less mature, was that being undersized, when we weren't getting like calls for like hand checks or whatever that were drastically affecting our game, that would frustrate me incredibly. And it still does when it happens, but it doesn't affect my game the way it used to. Like I'd keep going, but I'd get flustered a little bit and kind of maybe a little wild on the court, like more careless or whatever. And I think now that's something, as I've gotten older, I've gotten much better at just kind of pushing through, not letting it affect me as much, and kind of just kind of keep going.
Yeah. But I mean, like for both of us, even from like a younger age, like playing travel, like if our dad like yelled at us or whatever, like we wouldn't focus on what he's telling us more than like we'd hear like the yelling, and it's like it flushes you a little bit. But that was like, I think when we were really young, like over the years, I don't like.
That I got used to pretty, like I heard what he was saying, and I was like, all right, and like we knew, because we had started from so young, like what he was like yelling at us for, we knew like
many times.
like
It's over, and I'm like, I already know what he's
yeah.
You just gotta take
like we make a bad pass or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, and then I hear him, he's screaming at us, Dylan. I'm like, oh.
I'll tell you though, I like talking trash with him.
Talking trash? That's what I'm saying. I feel like if I was hooping 100%, I'm talking trash all the time.
Oh my god! And the best is when they start with you, and now it's like you wanted this. You know what I mean? Now we're gonna get into
And
it.
then you're nice too. Like you're shooting people's mouth. Like, so like if I'm pulling people's mouth, I'm like, yo, FaceTime. Like, I'm calling everything to them. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm nonstop.
Yeah,
If you're not hitting or you're not doing it, you can't talk. You just gotta.
Yeah, that's the tough part. That's the tough part.
that's
I've never gotten teed up for talking. I've gotten teed up for clapping.
Yeah. So like, how many shots would you say you put up a day?
I say probably, like, now I'd say, since we were young, I'd say, let me think, from like middle school to like high school, I'd say we put up at least 500 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like, on average, I'd say probably like 700.
Yeah,
Honestly, then when we hit like later in middle school, high school, pretty much like 1,000 every day. Like honestly, like
That's what it takes.
I mean, since he's been out with his knee or whatever. I mean, he hasn't. Obviously, he's still rehabbing it, so he has. But like he'll be out there rebounding for me still, like today, and like even he'll still put up shots now. I mean, on like an average, like on a good day, over 1,000 for sure.
And are you still doing basic drills and all that stuff on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, we still have like our same stuff we work on like to start.
Can't
get into,
can't go away from the basics.
Yeah.
You can't. That's something you can't ever
Form
just
shooting,
leave.
stuff like that.
There's especially with shooting. You know, you can't go away from the things that got you to where you are. It's the bankers. His bankers is tough. But you can't. Yeah, like you can't. If you stop doing the simple things, then you start to lose the form and lose the touch when you try to do the more complex drills.
Because you guys have been hooping since you were little kids. So was there ever a moment where you didn't want to play no more, or you were like, I don't really want to do this anymore? You get tired of it. Putting up 1,000 shots a day, bro, that's a lot. That's a lot of work.
I think for both of us, we started loving it more. That's what we did with it. Working when you're younger. Obviously, when you're 10 years old, you're not gonna put up 1,000 shots. No kid's gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's what we kept adding on. There's stuff you do your foam shooting, then you do this, then you do that, and it just you keep working on more and more stuff. The older you get, eventually, now at our age, we're putting up close to 1,000 shots a day.
It's crazy.
And, I mean, the thing for me always was we always played very well and more or less dominated down playing travel and high school and all that stuff. That's a great feeling, and I like those games, and playing well in those games is what I've always looked forward to, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't put in that kind of work. And for me right now with my knee and everything, it's been well over a year that I've actually played in a real game, and it just makes me want to work harder so that when I come back, I can be at that same level when I'm finally back in a game. Because I don't want to be that guy that they say, oh, leave him open or
I think I know I'm really competitive. I know he's one of the most competitive people I've met. That the mindset we had, it was never I don't feel like doing this. It was always I want to get better so I can go dominate.
The ones though. Competitive, cursing at each other.
Always competitive.
Always competitive. I mean, I don't win a lot, but it's always competitive.
now we haven't played.
I'll take him now.
I'm not.
No problem.
Little problem.
7-0 scum.
I can't move, but we haven't played actually as much over the past few years. But when we do, it's always close. If we play a 7-game series, it's usually going to 7, either way.
Generous. I appreciate that. No, I would say when we were younger, I would get one every now and then because he was big. He was just so much better than me. He was more skilled, bigger, stronger. Now I would say our skill level is pretty much the same. He's still got size on me and stuff, but I mean, now I'd say it's definitely closer. We played 10 games, maybe 6-4. You know what I mean? Yeah. At worst it'll be 7-3. You know what I mean? But before when we were little, it was probably 9-1 if I'm lucky.
Would they get you mad?
Oh yeah. No, losing. I hate losing more than I like to win.
Yeah.
That helped you? Do you feel like that helped your game, having a brother to push you?
For sure. I mean, having someone better than you, losing all the time, that sucks. It's not fun. But I still wanted to get better so I could beat him.
That's how we created the monster he is.
Yeah, because I feel like that helps you because you playing your brother, you see that you can't beat your brother. So then it's there's obviously other kids out there who are better than me. So then that keeps pushing you to do better and get better.
Yeah,
so
and also from just the shots I would have to hit.
Yeah.
He's when we were little, he's bigger. He's bigger than me when compared to now. Now we're similar in height. Before I'm I'm a little kid, and it's just hard. It's I gotta hit tougher shots. I gotta be more creative with what I gotta do. I'm not gonna just get wide open shots.
That's good though. It's good
For your game. But is there anyone you modeled your game after? You and Isaiah Thomas, kind of similar. I can't even lie. Size, elevation, lefty, you guys have that.
I would say, I've taken from what my dad's taught me, stuff like that from Dylan, some stuff from Dylan's game. Obviously our games are different, but there's some stuff from his game that I try to do as best I can, try to be like him. Isaiah Thomas, I liked him a lot when he was on the Celtics and stuff. I would watch his stuff. I would say the elevation stuff I got was from someone named Teddy Dupay. No one knows who he is.
Greatest scorer you never heard of.
Yes, bro. He played at Mariner High School up in northern Florida, I think. Maybe not even an hour or two away.
I thought it was southern Florida.
Nah.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know, but
senior
year, he averaged 41 a game, and I'm telling you, it was legit. It wasn't a 92 LaMelo Ball game where he's just getting layups and stuff. He's coming down in people's face, just and he like that's just how he played. He was like 5'9" too. So like I mean, him. That's like when I started like I saw clips of him, and that's when I started like elevating more and stuff like that. But like I would say just from like my dad and him, it's probably where like I got my knowledge, and that's kind of like how I crafted my game.
What about you?
You know, my dad was one of my favorite like people to just learn from. Some of my favorite point guards that I used to love to watch highlights of were John Stockton, Steve Nash. Those are two of my favorite
True
players.
guards.
Yeah, you know, like both players that were facilitators but could also fill it up if they had to, if the team needed them to, which is something that once he started to like kind of take the scoring load of the team, that was something that I did. Like if the team actually needed us to score, where if he was off or just getting double teamed or whatever,
That you could go get that bucket.
Yeah, but if he was hitting or somebody else on the team was hitting, I could feed them
And you could dish.
Yeah, so
That's like our dad kind of
Shaped your game.
yeah, like
Absolutely, yeah.
he made him like a true point guard kind of thing. So I think that's like I was like obviously I learned all the same stuff, but because I played on the team with him, I had to kind of
different roles.
Yeah.
We had
Be more of
different
like a
roles.
shooter.
Different
And,
Yeah.
got to do different. I mean, we were gonna have two true point guards playing, so like I was more of a shooter.
You guys fit perfectly, man. It's insane.
That's
what it is. It's what
works.
it takes.
Yeah.
When he's back, or
So you guys both on the same team now?
He's trying to get into it with
Yeah.
Nova.
I had walked on at Barry University, and when he committed to NSU, I decided that I'd try to transfer there and try to walk on there, but I had to have knee surgery in July, and so I'm still rehabbing it, so I haven't gotten a chance to actually work out with the team and actually try to.
How was that being a walk-on onto a D2 college?
It was tough, you know. It was a lot of work. I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to, you know, try out, work out with the team, and I made the team. It's a lot of, you know, it's not something I was used to. I was always used to most of the teams I was on. I was one of the best players, starting most of the time, playing a lot of minutes, and I went from that to, you know, number 15 on the roster, kind of like that fill-in guy, you know, like if you needed a guy for drills, they throw me in for a possession or two to give a guy a break or whatever, and then just doing the drills. It was very different, but I think it was a good experience though, that kind of helped me appreciate what I had.
Yeah, I definitely think he made the most of it.
Yeah, so was that tough mentally? And then what kept you going? Just the love of the game?
You know, it was definitely tough mentally because it was just something that I had never been the guy that was getting no minutes and, you know, just not playing at all. That had never been the person I was on the team. That just never happened. And so it was definitely just so it was frustrating, but I wanted to get better. I wanted to be a contributor. I wanted to hopefully play with him again someday if it had been at Barry, if it had been somewhere else, professionally maybe. But I just it made me want to be even better and someday be a contributor on a winning basketball team.
So what are some of the differences that you would say from high school to college, as in practice-wise, game-wise, if you've ever been in a game? Like, what are the biggest changes, like the most dramatic changes was like, whoa, like I feel the difference?
The first, one of the major things was the weight room, is that, you know, you're in there I was in there 3 or 4 times a week during the season, and in the off season you're in there 4 days a week. Then you have your practices, you got to get your shots up, on top of classes. So, and one of the major differences though that I didn't realize was classes, was that you only take 5 classes. You have you know, like a few on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, a few Tuesday, Thursday, and so sometimes you're done really early, sometimes you have gaps, and it's all about, time management and figuring out, when your lift is, when your classes are, if you have study hall or when you're going to study for and do your work, practice and everything. And it's a lot more time management that, if you fall behind, it can create major problems that in high school I just didn't have. There's more structure a little bit, and a little bit more in college. You're a little bit more on your own. Like when you have class conflicting with a lift or something, you need to text the weightlifting coach or whoever and say, listen, I have class. When am I making up my lift, and what's all gonna happen?
I don't know, cause like I know you guys want to go overseas and stuff, but like I started picturing again, like just sitting here and stuff. Like I can't see you guys going to like China, and, like, just hooping, and then coming out the game, and these people speaking to you in their language, and you're like, what's going on?
I've always wanted to learn another language.
I just can't see that, like that's an aspect I feel like people don't really think about, like overseas. You feel me? Like the language, the culture, like it's a whole new life. You feel me? And you're just here playing basketball. Like, what about teammates too? Because you probably have some native teammates, and like. The language, like, what are you saying to them? You feel me? Like, I don't. Like,
Something that you guys would be willing to do? Would you be willing to go overseas and play basketball?
For sure. I mean, I want to play ball. Like, that's what I want to do for a living, and to be able to do that would be great.
It's what he should do for a living. He's.
If it wasn't like China, for example, like you have to obviously get used to like it's a totally different life. I just think like. Basketball is if that's how you feel about basketball, you're willing to do that, and you just
for us basketball has been
your life.
It has been a major part of our life since we could walk. I mean, it's something that we're passionate about, and I mean pretty good at too. So if we get that opportunity, it's I think it's something that we would be grateful for and definitely try to pursue. As long as we can. That'd definitely be weird, but it's an adjustment.
It's kind of cool though, like connecting with people.
That would be cool though.
Because basically most of the, I'm not gonna say most of the American players, but like a lot of the NBA players, they become superstars when they go overseas.
Yeah, like Jimmer.
Yeah, Jimmer, Tracy McGrady. Even when he was old, he transferred to China. He was one of the biggest players ever to play in China.
Isn't the guy from Baylor? Wasn't it Pierre Jackson?
Oh yeah.
He was doing well. Last I heard.
Right?
I think he was in China. I think he was in the same league as Jimmer.
Yeah.
But I think that's something where, those are guys. Pierre Jackson wasn't tall. Jimmer Fredette is below average guard size for the NBA now. I think it's an option for guys who maybe don't get that opportunity to get to maybe where they could play at, but somebody else gave them an opportunity and they just made the most of it.
I think that's the best way to go. Like if you do end up going overseas G League, it's just like you just gotta show out, play your game, and the recruits, and you start hooping, getting used to it, and that's how like there's no end point. I feel like obviously the end goal is the NBA, but like once when you're in the overseas, you just keep going, and it's, like you guys said, it's the love of the game, and hopefully one day you'll always get to the league. I'll have your jersey, sign it real quick, put it on. You feel me? Like, that's just how it's gonna be. I just need some courtside tickets.
Bro, I remember Matt was telling me that you were reading the rule book. Is that true?
Actually, the fact we need to get a college one.
Yeah.
I need to.
See, bro? Yeah. You gotta know it, bro. Kobe, right?
No, you're absolutely right.
You gotta know it.
Absolutely right.
When we would play travel ball,
This is a great story. This is great.
We were serious about this stuff. And our dad was serious about this stuff. He was our coach.
From a young age, from an age when nobody else is serious about basketball.
So refs aren't even
refs don't know rules. He knows them. He would order like a high school rule book. That's what you play. And like rec leagues, you play like high school rules and stuff. And so he'd order one and he'd read it. He'd highlight like certain stuff, so he would know. And you think like it wouldn't happen? It would happen so much. Like there would be time like even like refs that we like kind of knew personally just from playing. Like after the game, like our dad would be like look, like in the rule book, like I'll show it to you, like it says it. Like
How many times in a game did he pull the?
Pulls
I have
it out.
the rule book in my bag.
I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it sounds like it's funny, but like there's so many things that we know that refs don't even know. Like I'll get called for something in the game, I'll be telling the ref like the rule, and he'll be like, no, but like I'm not gonna get teed up, but like I know I'm right. I'm like, you don't know what you're saying.
And a great example is, you know how like when you're going in for a layup and somebody comes behind, they don't have a chance at blocking it, and they just slap the backboard anyway. That
It's goaltending, right?
By rule, it's a technical foul.
It affects if it like shakes the hoop and it affects the ball. It is goaltending too.
But it's a technical foul in the rule book, and that's something that he has harped on since guys couldn't slap the backboard.
You know, like up and under, and they go for the reverse, and somebody will
someone
smack
just-
the backboard on this side.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't tell me he was trying to block that.
and he talked to refs, and refs would actually tell him, they'd be like, I'm not gonna be the one to call that because nobody else calls it, so I'm not gonna call it. But some of them even knew that, like, yeah, no, I it's a technical foul. I'm just not gonna call it.
I don't know. Like, my craziest story, though, is, like, I remember playing the Y League, and I was having a bad night. Like, I was a little mad, you know? And, like, bro, I'm dribbling. The kid kicks the ball out of bounds. And I'm like, and the ref called out on me. I was like, ref, we playing soccer? What's going on, you know? Teased me up instantly, bro. I was like, bro, come on.
that's a
Like,
big one.
Kick ball is like, yeah, you know, it has to be intentional. Like,
You have to.
if I throw the ball,
then it's not a kick.
yeah.
I understand that.
But like, so that would happen. They call a kick ball, and like nobody stuck their foot out. Like
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
hit his foot.
it's just annoying. Like, refs, you think refs change the game? You know what I mean? Like,
I like we've never like blamed a loss on like the
Yeah, 'cause
refs.
it's you don't want to have that
But-
excuse.
Yeah,
So-
but like it's definitely like, I mean, it all
No,
depends who you get. There's so many refs that are like they'll call anything, and then there's refs that you're playing football out there, man. You're getting stuck, and it's fine.
And it's, you know, it's refs obviously have an impact on the game, but you know, they're reffing the other team too, and it's you just, you know, like you said, whether you're playing football on a basketball court or they're calling ticky tack stuff, you just have to adjust and don't use the refs as an
I'll
excuse.
tell you 2 stories.
You guys were at the Cooper game.
Yeah.
You remember when the kid
I
was like
remember you
laying
talk-
on my back?
I remember you talking to one of the refs for a period of time. I remember that.
Do you remember when the kid like fell on my back? He was like
right.
riding me, bro. And I got out of the ref. I don't even know what I said. I was like, you're not gonna call that? And then he teed me up. Like, I don't know.
And I remember the crowd started clapping. I remember
And I'm
that.
like, I'm gonna say something at that point. Like, I'm over here. If you're not gonna call that, that's crazy.
I saw the clip. The kid was actually airborne, just on his back. Just feet were off the ground, and laying on.
I get teed up. What?
Like another thing, like, you know, like hand checks. So like someone will be hand checking me. I'll turn it over. No call. So I'm like, all right, if we're not gonna call that, I'm gonna do it too. I start doing it.
Notorious.
I start doing it. They call a foul. I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it, bro. Like,
not because I remember, like, you would hold the ball at the top of the key and someone would be hand checking you, and then you wouldn't even do anything. The only thing you do is you just look at the ref and be like, ref, you know, like, while the game's going on, the kid's hand checking, like, ref, come on, man.
I got a foul. I would hold it.
like if they put their hand on me, you're allowed to touch them once and take it off. They would like leave their hand on my hip. I look at the ref and he doesn't call anything, so I knock it off with my arm like that. And one time they called the foul. They called an offensive foul. I said, "Ref, you can't hand check." And then he goes to me. He goes, "All right, let me call it." Same thing. Second half, I catch it. The dude does it. I'm staring at him like that. He doesn't call it, so I go, boom. They call the foul on me again. I was like, "Yo, this is."
And he did. You said he said that you can't foul him back.
Yeah.
But so
Call it the first
so if he's
time.
fouling you,
That's
and
what he said
you're
to me.
He was like, "So if he's fouling you, you think you can foul him back?" I was like, "If you're not gonna call it, yeah. Like, what do you want?"
They don't make no sense. His dad comes down from the stands, flips to page 92, hand checking, bro. Oh my god, bro. I can just imagine.